So we have some massive breaking news that after Andrew Yang's decision to sue the New York Board of Elections, Bernie Sanders, Yang, and many others are back on the presidential primary ballot in New York State. A judgment came down just a few minutes ago, which basically argued that the decision by New York to remove Bernie, Yang, and others from the ballot violated their constitutional rights and the constitutional rights of many New York voters and many people running for office in New York State. Basically, the argument is that whether or not the primary is informally over because everyone has dropped out or suspended their campaign except for Joe Biden, many people have earned the right to have their name on the ballot, and those people being removed without their consent violates that right. And it also disenfranchises everyone who wished to vote for those people, as well as limiting the potential for those candidates and people who support those candidates to send delegates of their choosing to a convention. It doesn't necessarily matter that Biden is probably going to be the nominee, because that's not the only decision in play. It fundamentally matters that if you can't send delegates that represent your viewpoints, then that means that the Democratic Party democratic structure does not reflect the will of the people, and that is a violation of basic rights. And I think it's very important that we see this. Again, this is about more than Bernie. It's about more than Yang. It's about more than who's going to be the nominee. It's about ensuring that this not be allowed to fundamentally block democratic expression at a key moment in American history, even if the vote is quote-unquote frivolous. Andrew Yang put it really well in an official statement where he said, "I'm glad that a federal judge agreed that depriving millions of New Yorkers of the right to vote was wrong. I hope that the New York Board of Elections takes from this ruling a newfound appreciation of their role in safeguarding our democracy." That's fantastically put. And representatives for Bernie Sanders also made it clear that this was important because Bernie Sanders and his supporters deserve to have a representative voice in the party, and that the move to remove him from the ballot would be disastrous in terms of building party unity. This is what they said. Senator Sanders wishes to remain on the ballot and is concerned that his removal from the ballot would undermine efforts to unify the Democratic Party in advance of the general election. That's crucial. If you are going to have unity, and I'm not sure unity can exist given how badly Bernie Sanders has been treated by the Democratic Party, but if you're going to get unity, it has to be on the basis that the game is fair and that Bernie Sanders and his supporters are not ripped away from the ballot, even though they've earned the right to be there. And you know that this will also have down ballot consequences. And I think the judge took that into account, because if you look at the down ballot races, those are going to be happening whether or not Joe Biden is considered the locked-in nominee. And by removing other people from the ballot, you at least have some marginal effect at disincentivizing those people's supporters from going to vote. So if you remove Bernie from the ballot, you will potentially hurt or help other folks down ballot, and making that decision not based on the voters' will, but on a backroom deal is not democratic. This was the correct move. I don't think this is going to have an absolutely massive effect on any particular race. Some close down ballot races may well be affected. It's not going to change the fact that Biden is likely going to be the nominee, however crazy a decision it was to make Biden the nominee. But it's crucial here that Andrew Yang and those that stood with him, whether you like Andrew for every one of his positions or not, won a major victory for democracy tonight. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you to all the New Yorkers that made this fight. Thank you to all the Bernie people in New York that stood with Yang and his people. It might not change the ultimate outcome, but this is a victory, and it's also a warning to the political establishment to not mess with our democracy anymore.